Welcome back, everyone. Got another video for you. Nothing meant or intended for any legal purposes. It's all history, conjecture, opinion, some experience. These dogs, some of them I didn't see, but I followed their records. I followed the people. Some of them are famous, some of them are not. This video is going to be on dogs that were matched once, then retired. Now, there's a ton of them, so I just took a select few. Some of them I wasn't familiar with. A couple of them, not some of them, just one or two. Try to keep it on the ROM list, famous dogs that people would know or have in their pedigree. But like I said, there's a ton of them, a bunch of them. Now, matching a dog one time could have, speaking of the past, could be because they just wanted to prove the dog, and they're going to use it for breeding purposes, and they had nothing left to prove. I did that with Miss Rowdy. Should have done it with Big Red. He's too old. He shouldn't have been matched again. That was my fault. I allowed my partner at the time to do it. Should have left him alone. But that's okay. He proved his gameness in the end. Sometimes they do it because that's all the dog has in them. They suffer severely, can't be matched again. Sometimes, honestly, they do it because the dog was matched and quit. But they didn't want to get rid of them, they want to breed them. That's their prerogative. That's the way they did things. And some of those dogs that quit produce good dogs. It's never been a question. The only question is, back in the day, was if you were going to be that type of person. Some were successful at it, some weren't. So those are some of the reasons why dogs were only matched one time and then retired. Some of them dogs went on to become ROM. Some of them produced good dogs. Some of them didn't produce anything. And they were kept as pets. And people were happy with them. They got the win out of them. And these dogs I'm speaking on, because there's some dogs that were matched one time and lost. So these are basically dogs that were matched one time and won. So here's some history, some information on these dogs. And like I always say, feel free to comment. Post your comments. You may know some. You may have had some in the past. You may have heard of some. You can put their records, what they did. It'll jar my memory. I'm sure I'll remember some of them that you guys post up. And some of them I won't be familiar with, so it'll be new information that I'm always happy to get. Bolo would be the first one, ROM. Now, Bolo was a one-time winner in almost 2 hours. I believe the dog he beat was named Rowdy. He was a 2-time winner, supposed to be a killer finisher, like that. Bolo outpaced him, outgained him, beat him. His opponent was a very good dog. Bolo was just better that day. He went on to become a prolific sire, and the fact that he was stolen and ended up in other people's hands, there's several dogs off of him, because during that part where he was stolen, different people used him, bred to him, that were friends with the people that stole him. And but prior to that, Indian Sonny had him, and he had bred him, and he's the one who made those original Bolo, Corvino, Eli crosses. Now the Corvino stuff, that same blood, Altier's Tim and Goldie and all them, was shared by different fanciers. Bert Soros had that stuff. Indian Sonny had that stuff. Patrick had that stuff. So all these people kind of knew each other. That's what happens sometimes when everybody's involved. Shit happens, and then it comes out later. But there's several dogs that we probably would never hear of, and some of them were multiple winners. I have one on this list here that I'll mention later. That one, because I know the people, at least I got the information from them. I don't know if it's true or not, but I have no doubt to Believe them because people did that. They matched their dogs several times. Some of them until they were old age, and some of them old dogs won impressively, or just outdogged their opponent. But Bolo was here, there, and everywhere. Some people say when you see 4 bits in the pedigree, that's really Bolo, could be. But on his own, he's still, the ones that are credited to him, he still was a great producer. A couple of other that I'm kind of familiar with. I saw offspring off these dogs. Everybody knows my protege, my friend, had my blood, OTK. It's all in Mexico. His dog Clarence. Clarence was a son of Skull out of a Red Boy Jocko bitch. I forgot her name, but she came from TBK, and TBK is the one who actually bred Clarence. But OTK is the one who won with them, and he's a best in show winner. He produced several good dogs. Another one that's a one-time winner, best in show winner from OTK was Zorro. I didn't see Clarence or Zoe, but I saw plenty of their offspring. Clarence offspring, some of them had a way, and most of these dogs are rough. That's the style. But some of the Clarence dogs were smart too. They would fight the head, muzzle, then go to the stifle. Fast, speed. The Zorro dogs, rough as hell. He would just, I think almost every litter he threw something. And he's been long dead for a long time. Sometimes I post his picture. Those are old pictures. He's been gone for a long time. So this is way back in the day when I saw these dogs go. Very impressive. I can't really say which ones. I have all their pedigree somewhere. I keep them for myself. They're not made public. And, with those dogs, a lot of them resemble my old blood in the back. A lot of them resemble each other. A lot of them resemble Eli dogs and schoolboy dogs and Jeep dogs and this and that. They all related. You can tell they're all family, which is a testament to the work that OTK put in. Improved the blood, made it better, kept it going. I'm very proud of him and thankful. So those are 2 very good dogs he had. And he's had others. He had Champion Cholo and Champion Negron and Champion Khaleesi and different ones. I loved Reddy, and I loved, she was a 2-time winner, and Daisy was a 2-time winner. Love her. A ton of them. Clarice, Pollita, shit. There are too many to name. And a lot of them of his were matched one time. Baja, matched one time, beat a champion. And that happens a lot. So I think I forgot who sent me this, but it's a good topic. Moving on, my own Miss Rowdy. I matched her one time. She beat a reportedly, I don't know if it's true or not, that's what Bobby told me, 5-time winner named Annie. He told me, Richard, she finished everything. She finished 5 dogs, all under 20 minutes. And Miss Rowdy had a hell of a time, but she stopped her in 37 minutes. It was a good show. I came up in weight, still won. I wouldn't advise it to anyone in the past. I wouldn't advise it for myself in the past, but I still did it. Sometimes you do stupid shit. Sometimes the outcome is in your favor, but I wouldn't take that to the bank or make it the norm. Those are exceptions. And Miss Rowdy produced some good dogs. I only bred her, let's see, I bred her to Champion Bill. Most of those pups died. There was only 2 left. One quit. The other one, Howler, was a 2-time winner. And then he lost and he quit in 2 hours and 8 minutes. But he was a hell of a fighter. If you're just looking at a fighter, just like in boxing, with skill, power, all that stuff, balance, whatever, strength, speed, like that. If you just look at him like that, he was on that upper level as far as performance goes. He wasn't extremely game, but he wasn't ranked Kerr either. You had to beat him up and take everything out of him to make him quit. And he was a good dog. Anybody who saw him liked him just on his fighting ability. As he was tough and durable, took punishment, had good air, strength, power. He wasn't fast like a lot of my other ones, but he was a hard biter and tough and strong. Tito borrowed him, finished his opponent. I think it was 47 minutes, 46 minutes, something like that. Then I won. I beat Cat and Company's Red in an hour and 15 minutes. Red came from El Mexicano, that heavy Eli Jr. bully son. That very good dog, game dog, hard biting dog. Howler, just too much experience, really, and too much skill. Then I bred Miss Rowdy to. I bred her to Bill. Who else did I breed her to? Oh, bred her Champion Ninja. That produced Brock's Rowdy, a 2-time winner. He lost to the champion dog. I forgot his name. Bo. No, I forgot. Cannibal, Bo, one of them. Dixieland Connection. Person that owned the opponent was a. Forgive me for forgetting his name, but just a solid dog, man, and rest in peace. Sent me a nice drawing that he made of Big Red. And in that same litter was Lucy, one of my best females. As good a female as you could want. I never matched her there. I didn't even match her one time. I wanted to save her because she was the only female in the litter. But she was a badass bitch, and she threw badass dogs. I only bred her one time before I had to get out. And in that one litter, bred to Champion Bill, she produced Champion K. She produced Bambi, a 2-time winner. Hammer was a 1-time winner, and Billy Jr. was a 2-time winner, who lost in 2.5 hours. And then I sent Miss Rowdy to he repeated the breeding with Champion Ninja, and that, I don't know all that. There was a 2-time winner out of that. I forget his name. And there was also the Bugsy female. I got her back for the breeding. I sold her to Rancherita Kennels in Baja, Jerry Wiseman. She produced Champion Cyclone, and Burrito was a 2-time winner, 1-time loser. She produced his Ninja, Little Bugsy. Little Bugsy is behind that dog I talk about sometimes, Champion Chamuco. She's behind that, so good stuff from Miss Rowdy, even though she wasn't bred a lot. I didn't breed a lot of my dogs a lot. My females, if I bred them 3 times in their whole life, that was a lot. I just bred for my own purpose. Like Sissy, I bred her 3 times. Miss Rowdy, I bred her twice. I bred Kay and Bambi twice. I bred Lucy once. And then the people I sold her to, they bred her too. They bred her after that. They bred her to BJ, the brother to Miss Rowdy. So, not a lot of numbers, but good solid dogs out of it. Also, that litter had from Ninja to Miss Rowdy had a dog named Bo, who was a cannibal, but he died in an accident at a young age. Solid black, almost just like Ninja. Beautiful animal. And then, of course, we have Tombstone. A little bit of history, sometimes repetitious. Tombstone originally owned by Ron Petronelli up in the New England area. He called him Toot Jr. because Tombstone is was out of Maloney's Toot and Speedy Allen Gina. Dispute on the pedigree, I don't know the truth, doesn't matter. He's a good dog and a great producer and all that. He was a 1-time winner, beat Champion Bully Son Jr. in an hour 25, just outgamed him basically. Stumbling scratches, there's pictures of him, you can see he's beat up, his legs are chopped up and still scratched, wouldn't quit. Very game dog, great producer. Addison's Dudley, another 1-time winner. I wasn't familiar with this dog, also an ROM. I'll get into him a little bit later. But as far as the record goes, but Dudley was sired by Lee's Champion Reno. Reno, of course, from that famous litter of Grand Champion Cherokee Chief to Boyle's Dirty Mary. You have Champion Reno, Champion Bolt Action, Champion Mr. Rogers, and several other dogs from that litter that were good dogs. His dam was Hackman's Coco. She's out of Bobby Jr. and Hackman's Miss Champ. Now, Miss Champ is that Hank and Captain Mara's Miss Boomer breeding, and that's that Hank boomerang stuff that Captain America used to do. I mentioned that he made the Hank Giroux crosses, and those were the spinning, turning ones like that, and the Hank boomerang crosses, and those were the straight ahead bulldog type. That's where this bottom side comes from. And of course, Dave Hackman, famous for having boomerang dogs, famous for having Bobby Jr. dogs, a little bit of Boyle's dogs besides Bobby Jr. Just a solid dog, man. If you go back and you care to follow his record, you'll see a ton of dogs from him. Tuck talks about him all the time. He knew him very well. Probably got dogs from him. I'm sure he did. And he was a Show and Go Kennels top competitor back in the day. He got dogs from everybody. And he had all kinds of different dogs and all kinds of champions and grand champions and one-time winners, and made the route, knew the old timers, you know. Just a great dog man back in the day. Dave's Black Poison, and he was an ROM also. Poison was sired by Bobber Jr. out of Hackman's Miss Champ, which would make him a litter mate to the Coco bitch that I just mentioned. I remember Black Poison, and I was always kind of following Bobby Jr. because I had some of his blood. I was friends with Boyles. Bobby Jr., I'm not sure if he made ROM or not. I don't think he did. I know he had from the Bobby Jr. Dirty Mary breeding, that was champion, what was his name? Toad and Tadpole. He was champion Toad. He was a 4-time winner. He lost his 5th. Tadpole was his brother. He's a 2-time winner. He lost his 3rd. And several dogs in that litter that were good dogs. Beat good dogs, but some of them lost. And I forget which other ones. I think I have some down here that Bobby Jr. was sired by Patrick's Bullboy Bob and Bolio's Tuffy. That's that Bolio Klaus cross. Here we go. He produced Mason's Champion Hammer. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Bullboy Bob. Bullboy Bob was sired by Bolio. Bolio and Tuffy. Not Bobby Jr. But this is the dog I'm talking about is Bullboy Bob. Bolio and Tuffy. That Tuffy is the Klaus stuff. So that's one of those Bolio Klaus breedings. Red Baby would be another one. Bolio Klaus from Allen's Mugs and that kind of stuff. Tuffy a little bit different, but still the Klaus blood. Bullboy Bob produced Champion Bobby Jr. and Mason's Champion Hammer. There's disputes over pedigrees and all that. You guys, I don't get into that crap. I don't care. I'm more focused on the dogs. It's nice to know the true breeding, but sometimes you just don't know. And when you start spitting stuff around this and that, you could be right. This is what it is. But you could also be wrong. I never make statements like that, this is what it is, because I wasn't there. And if someone that was there tells me, that's what I say. They were there and they told me. So that's the story. You believe what you want. In the end, being a breeder and a competitor, it didn't matter to me. The dogs could produce them to use them. But I had integrity. And it mattered to me which dogs of mine got the credit. So none of my peds are fake. None of my peds are altered. None of my dogs' records. I'll tell you if they won, lost, how they won, how they lost, game or quit, won impressively or barely won or whatever, that's just me. Not everybody's like that, but there are people that are like that. So a little bit on some of these dogs I just mentioned. Addison Dudley, he produced, and if you look at his, that's that same old Boyles with some boomerang in there, and which previous to that, Boyles had done with to make Mavis and Spanky and Grand Champion Queen of Hearts. So it's a good cross. And even out here, that Boyles, not Boyles, but the Bolio Boomerang cross was very successful. Those dogs are very stylish, very strong, rough, fast, speed, smart, you know, like that. Mostly rough. They weren't really head dogs, you know, but they did get the speed and the air from the Bolio stuff, the ones I saw. And they were strong and rough, bit hard like the Boomerang stuff. So Addison's Dudley produced Backstreet True's Champion Superman, 4-time winner, 1-time game loser. Backstreet True's Champion Cortez, 3-time winner, 1-time game loser. Steel City's Champion Mr. Man, Steel City's Champion Missy. Backstreet True's Champion Batman, Backstreet True's Champion Supergirl. Those guys were a little bit after my time, but Steel City was around my time, but Backstreet a little bit after. Them guys were running hard, hot and heavy, had a bunch of champions, bunch of winners, very good dogs, took their losses well, if you can take a loss well, from what I understood. I'm just saying they were top dogmen back in their day, and they had a great record to back it up. And Tombstone produced that famous litter when bred to Red Baby. Champion Tonka, Champion Snubby, Champion Crash. Now Tonka, Anderson's Tonka, I think PJ DiGiorno bought him. Anderson ended up with him. Gene Matson conditioned him. Champion Snubby, Uptown Boys Champion Stubby, she was the best in show winner. They ended up, I don't know if they sent her to Europe or her blood went to Europe, but they crossed her with Fox Jr. And from that came some very good dogs. So she was key. And the Fox Jr. is Petronelli's Fox son, which is Boomerang's brother. Fox was Boomerang's brother. So you have that Boomerang, what are you going to call it? Boomerang Tombstone Red Baby cross. Ended up in Europe. Those dogs were very successful over there. Another good, if you look at these dogs and the pedigrees in their background, you'll see some commonality, a lot of Diabo, and you'll see Klaus in there. You know, whether it's Bolio with the Diabo, or Hank with the Diabo, Red Baby with the Klaus, or Tuffy with the Klaus. You see that stuff in there all over the place. Cremator was in that litter. Girly Crumbs Cremator, 2-time winner. Creamy, the kids called her. Very good female. She's a good producer too. You see her in pedigrees. Tombstone also produced Lewis's Grand Champion Hope. She's out of Champion Princess. And there's several. You have Voodoo and a bunch of dogs from Tombstone from not a ton of breedings. I don't remember if he was bred 6 times, 8 times, 10 times, whatever. It ain't no 20, 30 times, 15, I don't think. Because he died of heartworms, but just a great producer. I think in the Tombstone Red Baby litter, there's 13 wins and 1 game loss. Hell of a record from one litter. And of course, the Princess litter had Grand Champion Hope and had a brother named Voodoo or something. There was more than one winner in there also. And I think from that litter was the game loss. You can look it up and look at those dogs. Some of those dogs, you don't see them in pedigrees, but you'll see their litter mates in pedigrees. Some of them were bred. Just kept that line going. Dave's Black Poison produced Common Sense Champion Zedra. This I'm just going from what I researched, what it says. I can't validate or verify any of these dogs from Poison, but I know Poison was a game dog, a good dog, a winner, and a good producer, because I remember seeing dogs off of him being reported as winners. I don't remember all their names, but this is what I got from my research. Common Sense's Champion Zedra, D's Champion King Joker, Steel City's Champion Dink, Backstreet True's Champion Snake Girl. There you have Steel City and Backstreet Trues again. Farmer Dread's Champion Beeper. So that's some of his offspring. Bolio, of course, produced Red Baby. Boy Bob, El Dos Bits. Now I saw that pirate dog from Don Brote that Vinny used. He was a one-time winner. He broke Arsene the So-So Boys 20-fight winning streak. They had 18 wins and 2 draws. Pirate broke that streak, beat their boxcar dog in an hour and 1 minute. Brought him out here. He lost very game to Boozer in an hour 56. Boozer, I think, was off of Dos Bits. I think. And he came from Mary Schaefer, top dog lady out here. Competitor, breeder, show judge. Knew everything about dogs. Rest in peace, Mary. Great lady. He produced Commander Whitehead. I had him in my pedigrees with Ronnie. Kincaid's Champion Princess and Kincaid's Champion Rolo. Now, Rolling Kincaid, top dog man out here. He had a lot of good dogs. From Wilson's Crash and that's another, of course, Crash is out of Tombstone Red Bay litter, but he made those dogs kind of popular out here. He kept to himself a lot, you know, but some people did get his dogs. I remember Scratch and Stitch had some of that stuff. Some of that stuff made its way to Mexico, West Coast blood. You know, the Bolillo is more West Coast stuff. And then it went everywhere. You know, Texas Express ended up with Texas. It went to New York and Florida with Boyles and all different states, but it was originally from out here. Champion Princess and Rolo. Uptown's Champion Edie Amin, and I think Renault Morris ended up with Edie Amin. He got some good dogs off of him. Ford's Champion Manchu and Brothers Champion Handsome. Brothers was from Europe. They were from the land of wooden shoes. That's how they used to advertise them in the journal. Oh, by the way, I still have these shirts for sale. Good Boys Fantastic Five. They were early importers of dogs to Europe back in the day. They had a ton of blood. You know, you had Handsome, you had the Champion Spike, you know, the alligator stuff. You had Uptown Snubby and Fox stuff. You had different bloodlines over there. They really like that alligator stuff. You have Nasher and Champion Spike and Nielsen and several winners and champions. You had Keen Limey had the stuff, and Brothers had, you know, from Europe, and so were St. Benedict and a ton of guys, if you follow them, they're in there. I think St. Benedict was in Europe and was in the U.S. too. I saw some of their dogs. One of their dogs from the contractor, John, was one of the best I ever seen. Oregon. Beat a very game, smart, tough Sorrels dog in an hour 35. Finished him. Very good dog. So I saw some of that stuff. St. B came out here to see the match. I'm sure he was pleased. So Champion Handsome also out of Bolio. Robeson's Champion Greb. That might have been him, or Princess was Bolio's first champion. I forget which one. But Greb, of course, named after Harry Greb. Very famous boxing champion from the 1920s. Had 299 fights in 13 years. The last 5 years of his life, he fought blinded in one eye because he got thumbed and he got blinded. I don't think he ever got stopped. Maybe he did, but he fought middleweights, fought all light heavyweights, all the way to heavyweight. He's the only one to beat light heavyweight, who would become future heavyweight champion, Gene Tunney. He's the only one to beat Gene Tunney, champion. Also, some more trivia. Gene Tunney's son was a senator for California in my day. But he named him Greb, and rightly so, after that great champion. There's a, you know, they put out about Greb, you know, when they put his record up. He fought 45 times in 1 year. Do the math, see how many times a month that is. Average. Some of these guys would fight every week. And it was nothing for Greb to fight 10, 15, 20 times a year. So again, do the math. Round it off to 300. 300 divided by 13. How many fights is that a year? So, and the thing on Champion Greb the dog was that he was tough and durable, rough, hard mouth, like that. Greb the boxer wasn't a particularly hard fighter, but he was a human windmill, non-stop, throwing punches, weird angles, hopping, jumping around, sling you, hit you, cuff you, butt you, whatever, just kept coming. It was all anybody could do to keep him off. And he was a middleweight champion. Like I said, fought from middleweight all the way up to heavyweight. So a well-deserved title for the dog. Also a champion. Ruth Champion Dagon, another son of Bolo. Dagon was crippled in his back leg, I think. He still won 3 matches. Very good dog. And this next one's one of those multiple winners that I heard about. They mentioned to me, they told me, I don't know if it's true or not. Son of Bolo, named Gomez Grand Champion Red Sambo. He was like a 7-time winner, I think. And there wasn't just him being a multiple winner. There were other ones that people would tell me about, or they would just mention, yeah, you know, Bolo has, this dog was a 6-time winner, this dog was a 5-time winner. That dog's not really off of him, it's really off of Bolo and all that stuff. So if you just take the record as it is, still a great dog, still a great win over a great opponent, and a great producer in the hands of some of the top dog men in the history of the breed. So these are dogs that were one-time winners and retired. I didn't go why each dog was retired. I know with Tombstone, he was too valuable, and maybe he had heartworms at the time. They knew it, and that's why they didn't match him again. Of course, Don Mayfield is the one that matched him against Bully Son Jr. When the Petronellis had him, they advertised him as a 58-pound dog, and Mayfield matched him at 55. That's that bringing him down to weight, big dogging him, like they say. He supposedly was expert at it. I had a chance to speak to him. He was very knowledgeable if you could get through what he was trying to say. But I talked to all kinds of people. I grew up around all kinds of people, different, accents, different verbiage they use, and different sayings and all that. So I can pretty much understand anybody if they're speaking halfways English. And I understood what Mayfield was trying to say, and I took some of that knowledge and incorporated it, even if it's just something to have, to hold, and to understand. Then I can express it to other people, and they can do what they want with it. But Tombstone, he was always one of my favorites. Bolo, always one of my favorites. I love them Bolo dogs. Of course, you guys know I talked to the musician. He has that stuff. I had some of it back in the day. I had a female from Patrick. I had dogs from Ronnie Boyles. And I saw a ton of them. Cat and Company had them. IK had them. And Sads and Suds had them. And Bishop Hilliard had some. Even the Soros Bull stuff related to Bolo, Heavy Zeke, I saw a ton of them. Just good blood. And all these dogs that I mentioned, even my own, I'll put them up there, that were deserved of being called very good dogs. Some of them great dogs, had some great accomplishments, and produced some good ones. So like I said, if you have any in mind, write them down. Thanks for your support. Press the like button. Get a hold of me for merch on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, my email, richardjschoolboy60@gmail.com, or hit me up on Instagram. My daughter calls it Insta, I guess. They have all these nicknames. Nobody speaks English. They'll use slang, but it is what it is. I'll figure it out, or I won't. I'll just ask somebody. Anyways, thanks again. We'll talk soon.